Okay, so this is just a short video to show you how to create a magazine front cover and a double page spread in Photoshop. So I'm just going to take you through some of the basic steps that you would need to go through. So first of all, just to get myself set up, I need to make sure that I'm logged into Google Drive. So if I click on here, I'll see that I'm in Google Drive and it's my school email account. If that's not coming up for you, you need to go into this thing and if you search for Google Drive, it will come up. Click on that. It will then ask you to sign in if you haven't done, or it will have this little pop-up just over here. And then that's it. And then when you click on it, you should see that you've got your email address there. So that means that I can save all of my files directly to the Google Drive. The other thing I need to do is to set up my page. So because I'm doing the front cover first, I'm just going to go to create new. If that's not there, go to file and new. And then I'm going to click on A4. If that doesn't come up for you, click on print and then click on A4 over here, and that will give you the A4 settings. Make sure that it's portrait, not landscape, and then press create. So what I need first of all, that's just loading. I don't know why it's taking so long. While that's loading, let's go and find a background image. So let's go fashion model photo. I don't know. I'm just going to do fashion quickly because that would be easy to do. Okay. So I want a portrait image. So when you're taking your photographs, you want to try and make sure that you get a portrait image. So let's take this one. Make sure it's quite large if you're using images from the internet. Most of the images you're using should be your own, but if you do use them from the internet, if you go to tools when you're in images and click on large, you will get a large size image, which means my image that I've just gone has just gone, which is a shame. Maybe let's choose that one. Let's go. Okay, so right click and copy, and then go to Photoshop, edit and paste, and then you'll get your shot in there. Now notice how mine has these little handles. That's because I've got this button here checked on. If you put it off, you won't be able to resize it. So make sure that's checked on. And then I'm going to resize that so it comes to about here. Don't worry that it's going over the shape. When you save it, you'll only see what's on there. If I'm happy with the position that I've put that in, I can lock this layer. So I can click on the layer and click there, and then I won't actually be able to move that anymore. If I want to unlock it, I just have to click on there. So click on the layer, lock it, and now I can't do anything with that. Okay, so next thing we need to have is masthead. So I can go to my text layer and let's just call it fashion. Let's be really original. Now at the moment it's on white. Whenever I text, whenever I write, it's going to go in the color that was previously. So click on the type, highlight it by double clicking, and I'm going to press black over here, and I'm going to pop that over here. Let's make it a bit bigger. Okay. Now, problem we've got is that her head is in front of that. So there's a couple of things that we can do. Sometimes magazines, what they like to do is, so first of all, let's move her down a little bit. Okay. And sometimes let's lock it again. And what magazines like to do sometimes is kind of rub out some of their font. So let's make this a different color because that will make it easier. So we double click on it, go over here and let's choose, let's go for something really different. Like it's going to contrast on the background. Let's go for that. That's quite nice. Okay, so now what I can do, because this is a layer, I can zoom in. So if I press Control Plus or go to View, and you can actually zoom in here. So if you zoom in and zoom out, but it's actually easier to do Control Plus. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to go up a little bit. And I actually what I want to do is cut out the lettering so that it looks like it's behind her head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my eraser tool. In my layers panel, I'm going to make sure that I've got the fashion layer selected, not the background. And yeah, so fashion layers corrected. And I want to rub that out. Now it's not letting me rub out the text at the moment. So what I need to do is if I right click and press rasterize type, that will now make the type an image. It does mean I can't edit the type anymore, but I'm happy with the spelling and I'm happy with everything. So I've got my I've got my eraser tool over here. And all I'm going to do is erase. Might need to make my tool smaller up here. So let's have a look at that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off part of it. We can tidy that up a bit later. You get the idea, guys. Obviously, you could zoom in and do that really neatly. I'm just doing this quickly and I don't want to bore you. So we'll get rid of all those bits. And then when we zoom out, it looks like the masthead is behind her head. Okay, so we need a headline. So again, we go for text. We type in headline, whatever our headline is going to be. It's going to give us the text that we used last time. We might want to do something a bit different with that. So for example, if we go to our layers, if we right click on that layer and blending options, we can do maybe an outline. So if we go to stroke, that means outline. And as you can see, it changed already. Let's make that, I don't know, let's play around with it and see what contrasts quite nicely. That's a bit, okay, that looks quite cool. With the stroke, if we make it on the outside, that's quite nice. And then, so we've got our headline. Maybe we'll make that quite big so we know that it's about her. And then let's go and get some text again. And this is going to be our caption. Text, lots of information here. Okay, notice how it's going quite big. So I need to resize it. So I'm going to click on it with my arrow and I'm going to resize it. And that might go underneath here. And if I want a new paragraph underneath that, so lots of information here about the artist. And I can either make that centered, or up here I can make it so that it all goes to one side over here. Or I can do the same and I can make it go, if I double click on it again, I can go to one side over here and make it go maybe like that, which might look pretty cool. So I've got my headline. Then if I wanted to have, you get the idea, guys, if I wanted to have like a strip. So let's pull this over here. Have some cover lines. So like cover line, make it smaller. Let's maybe make that black so that it's, so the headline stands out. I need to double click on it, then click on that, then click on that. So we do that and we can make that a bit smaller. Maybe have a cover line. Maybe I'm copy and pasting these. So you see, every time I copy and paste, it creates a new layer. So this is going to be my cover line caption underneath. Obviously, you would have your articles there. I'm going to resize that so it's smaller. And we've got our cover line caption underneath over there. So that's looking pretty professional. And as you can see, every single element that I'm adding is actually going up as a new layer. And because I've locked this layer, it means that I can't do anything with it. I can't have that. If I wanted to have maybe like a block of color down the bottom, create a new layer. And what I'm going to do is with my rectangular marquee, I'm going to create a layer down. I'm going to create like a shape. And if I get a paintbrush and choose a color, so let's down here in the color palette, choose maybe, let's go blue just for why not. And then I can paint on that. And what that's basically doing is I've got a layer over here. And if I turn off all the other layers, you can see that that is a blue element on that layer only. And what would be really good, because you're going to end up having quite a lot of layers, what would be good is if you double click on that and put blue banner, so you know if you need to edit that later on, you've got the blue banner down the bottom. Now I've still got the running ants on here, so if I go to select, deselect, that will go away, and then I can pop some text down the bottom here. So if I wanted to have like I don't know, fashion and I don't know, fashion, clothes, celebrities, I don't know, you get the idea. Now, what I will say is at the moment I'm using all of the same font style. You might want to change that up. So there's lots of different fonts that you might have already installed, or you might want to go on to Adobe fonts and have a look at Adobe fonts. So if I go on to here, click on Adobe fonts, and then make sure you're signed in. So up here at the top, it'll ask you to sign in. So I'm just going to sign in with my school account. So I've just signed in with my school account. It's a little bit slow, guys. And then there are plenty of different fonts. As you can see down the side, there's all different things that you can search for. It also gives you a nice little preview. So let's go for, I don't know, just for argument's sake. This one's called Reclaim Script. So view the family. And then you need to, up here, there'll be a little sort of check thing that says activate for fonts. So activate them. You'll get a little kind of green message down here to say they've been activated. And then you need to look for the name in Photoshop. So if we now go to here, there we go. Okay, Reclaim Script has now been put into there. And so we could have, so I've got a different font style. What I would say when you're making a magazine, don't use more than, say, 3 different font styles, okay? And you want to kind of keep them working well together. So I can have fashion, I can copy and paste that layer, and then have gossip. I don't know, you get the idea. And then I can have clothing. Etc. Now, if we just spread these out, what we could do is we could have a shape in between each of those. So we could draw in this box here, you've got different shapes that you could use. So we could just have like, I don't know, like a black kind of square here that then if we color it, you'll get this box that comes up and you can color that black. And then like, so you've got like a line in between. You might want a circle. There's all different things that you can do to kind of include. So you've got shapes over here that you can also use, or you can draw something on Illustrator. So if you have created something on Illustrator and then you open it in Photoshop, you can bring it over to your object. So if we go to Google Drive, because I've signed into Google Drive, my Google Drive comes up. If I go into my media folder, I've actually got in here a little puff that I made. It was supposed to be for a film magazine, but it doesn't matter. This is made in Illustrator, but I can open it up in Photoshop. So if I click on it and then press open, it will open in a new window. Now my computer's quite slow, so I don't know how long this is going to take. Yeah, pop-up comes up and press OK. So this is what I made in Illustrator. It's very basic, but it's a flat layer. And what I can do is I can drag this over to my page. It doesn't quite go with the color scheme, but it doesn't matter. And now what that's done is it's created another layer. So on my layer, I can double tap and I can say puff. So that every time I know where everything is, because believe me, once you start making your magazine, you're going to have loads of layers. So you can scroll that down and then you can move that wherever you want. And also because it's layers, you can decide that you want that to go in front of your headline. I mean, I wouldn't, because then it's missing out your headline. Or you can decide that you want that to go underneath. So our headline is here. And if we put it underneath that headline layer, so if I drag it underneath, it actually goes behind. So what you can end up doing is layering up your objects based on the layers. So I could have this here and it goes behind the banner. Or if I move it up to the top, it will go in front of the banner. So there's lots of different things that you can do there. So you can create stuff in Illustrator and pull it straight over to Photoshop. Same with your images. So if you have your images on Google Drive, you can open them straight up. I don't have any images on Google Drive, but you would do the same process. You would go to open, you'd find your images in your media folder, and then you could open them. This is an image that I've got of a Photoshop practice that I did. So if I open that up, how long is it going to take? So this is what I made for my year 10s. If I then drag that over to here, you can see that I've got an image layer that has been created. I can make it go all sorts of different ways. I can put it wherever I want to. So you can see there how you're starting to layer up different images. And that's essentially how you can create your front cover of your magazine. Now, in the next video, I'm going to show you how you would lay out your page for a double page spread, but essentially you would use all of the same skills. So this should hopefully be enough to get you started. The last point I do want to make is about giving yourself enough space around the magazine. Oh, I'm going to put that back. So that's okay to have that much space around the edge. If you do things too close to the edge, what ends up happening is when we print them, some of the stuff can get cut off. So just try and give yourself a little border all the way around the edge. This could do with going up maybe a little bit, just so that when we cut it, you've got enough space, okay, and nothing's going to kind of get chopped off of your image. But yeah, that's it, guys. Hope you found that useful.